The Architect of Chaos. Deconstructing Charles Manson's mind and conviction, ladies and gentlemen. We gather today not to glorify a figure of notoriety, but to dissect a chilling piece of American history, the case of Charles Manson. It is a case that sits at the uncomfortable intersection of severe mental pathology and complex criminal law, forcing us to ask, how did a career criminal transform into the charismatic architect of chaos? And how did the legal system hold him accountable for murders he did not physically commit? We must examine two critical areas. First, the true nature of his psychological pathology. And second, the legal framework of conspiracy that sealed his fate. Part 1. The evolving psychological profile. For decades, the public and even some clinicians wrongly speculated that Charles Manson was defined by outright psychosis or schizophrenia. But contemporary psychological analysis, particularly those based on the final testing conducted in 1997, tells a different story. Manson was not primarily psychotic. He was pathologically malignant. His most consistent and damaging diagnoses were antisocial personality disorder and psychopathy. These conditions are characterized by a profound lack of empathy, chronic manipulation, and a grandiose, inflated sense of self. Crucially, analysis of his interactions points directly toward malignant narcissism. He was consistently dominant and cold, exhibiting high agency, the relentless need to control and influence with virtually no communion or warmth. His bizarre rants and erratic courtroom behavior were not the hallmark of disorganized thinking, but rather a strategic tool he had developed in his youth, which he called the insane game, a deliberate act of calculated madness designed to exert power and evade responsibility. Manson's core pathology was his hypnotic ability to turn others into extensions of his will. He did not persuade his followers with gentle reason. He manipulated their deepest psychological vulnerabilities, creating a family bound by subservience to his absolute authority. Part 2. The legal architecture of conspiracy. The legal challenge in the Manson trial was monumental. How do you convict a man of 7 counts of first-degree murder when he was not present at the Tate residence or the LaBianca residence? The answer was found in the law of conspiracy. Prosecutor Vincent Buglios successfully argued that Manson was the undisputed leader of a criminal enterprise. The legal mechanism used was the joint responsibility rule of conspiracy, which dictates that every member of a conspiracy is legally responsible for any criminal act committed by any other member in furtherance of that conspiracy. The prosecution's motive, the infamous Helter Skelter theory, was essential. Manson believed an apocalyptic race war was imminent, and the murders he ordered were intended to accelerate this war by framing black militants. His twisted ideology was presented as the overt act of the conspiracy. The backbone of the conviction was the testimony of former family member Linda Kasabian. Granted immunity, her detailed eyewitness account stripped away the layers of confusion and validated Manson's absolute command, proving beyond a reasonable doubt that the murders were executed by his direct or implied order. The court system concluded that the man who planned the chaos, instilled the motive, and maintained total control was, in the eyes of the law, the singular criminal mastermind. Conclusion. The case of Charles Manson remains a potent lesson for jurisprudence and psychology. His conviction established that commanding ideology and calculated manipulation can be as culpable as pulling the trigger. It is a stark reminder of the destructive power of malignant narcissism when weaponized by charisma, and the ultimate triumph of the legal principle that accountability extends to the architect.